Okay, so programming from the web. Last lesson we did while loops, and we found that actually they were really similar to if statements. So we had the condition at the start, whether something was true, and then if that was or wasn't true, depending on what we wanted to test, we would then execute a statement. So we could say, while username does not equal Dave, continue to ask for username or something like that. So what it will do is it will continue to do something again and again and again. Now we're going to look at a slightly different loop, and that's a do while. I have never really used the do while, so this is the first time I've used the do while. I'm normally programming Python, doesn't usually have a do while. So you have different loops in different programs. JavaScript seems to use do while. It's really similar to the while loop, except the condition check is kind of swapped around, is at the end. So this means that the loop will always be executed at least once, even if the condition is false. So here we go. So what we've got is we've got our function name or our keyword, do, then we've got what's to be executed, then we've got a while in the middle, and then the condition. So what that means is it goes through it in order. So it's going to do this part first, the statement to be executed, all here. It's going to do that bit first, then it does the while, and then it asks the question. So it's always going to go through at least once, because remember, it goes through in order. So what we've got here is we've got a do while, a very simple one that counts up from whatever the user inputs upwards. Now we're going to end up basically getting a little bit more difficult and What I mean is you guys are going to master this and you're going to make it a bit more interesting, is the idea. So all you need to do right now is go to Google Classroom, download the blank HTML template, and you can either do this with me or you can watch this part first and then do it yourselves. So I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, now you've done that, and I've done that as well. Let's get out of this, and we're going to go to brackets. So I've opened it up here. I'll zoom in a bit more for you guys. There we go. Now I'm going to go straight down to the JavaScript part here. So this is just a blank document. It doesn't do anything at the moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable, and we'll call it start at. I'll try and keep it as best I can to what we have on the PowerPoint from memory. Then we're going to ask them for a prompt, so that means that a dialog box is going to appear at the top, and we're going to say something like, what number should we start at? Okay, and then we'll give them a hint of 0. Okay, so basically this is going to appear on our screen. The user will then input their number. We've done this loads and loads of times, so I'm just going to crack straight on. Then we've got our do. So this is our function. Okay, we can see that that's gone into the function color. And what we're going to do is we open up our brackets, and we call it document.write. So this means we're going to write inside the document. Sometimes you might have get element by ID or something, depending on where you want to write it, depending on what location you want to write it. And we'll start off by saying, here we go. Okay, and then we can make it go down the line. And let's start with start up. So what that's going to do is we're going to have a bra. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a sentence that says here we go, then it's going to drop it down the line, then it's going to have the number, and then it should start on the next line and go down and down and down. So what we're going to do next is we'll have, so we've done our do part. What we now need to do is our condition. So whilst this, so as it's going through it, we then want to add to start up, and we do that by putting plus plus. So if we had 1 plus, we might be adding something. By putting 2 pluses, we're saying add whatever in here, whatever is in here, add 1 to. Okay. Now that's the end of those brackets, and what we're going to do is we're going to go down a line and we'll have our while loop. So we're going to open up our brackets and we're going to have start at is smaller than, let's go for 100 just to illustrate our point. So what we've got here is we've got our do, and we've got what we want to happen first. Then we've got the condition. So all it is just a loop, but it's flipped around the other way around. So I'm just going to press save. Make sure you don't, I suppose you could overwrite, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's see what this little bit of code does. What number should we start at? Let's go for 52. I'm going to go out on a whim and say that that didn't work. So let's go back and see where we've gone wrong. Okay. And fix that. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay, where am I going wrong? Let's have a look. If you spotted it, nice one. Should be start at. Okay, so let's go to 52. Whoa. Okay, so done it straight away. As you can see, here we go, 52, and then let's put it down on a new line. BR means break, by the way, line break. Okay, so as you can see, this little bit of code does something really, really simple, and actually happened so quickly that we didn't even manage to see it. It executed it straight away and iterated through it, or it looped through it really, really quickly. So that's the basics of a do while. What I would like you to do is go to Google Docs, complete task 1, and then come back to the video. So task 1, really, really simple. Just 3 questions. Basically copy what I've just done, add a new variable that makes it count up to something. So I'll let you try and work out what you need to replace. Pretty simple. And then you're going to change your counter so that it actually counts down from the number. So it will go from 100 to 52 in the example that I just did. Okay guys, so I'll give you a chance to pause, press the pause button, and you're back. Alright, you paused? Pause. Anyway, so let's move on. So next we're going to look at for loops. Now for loop basically iterates around something. It's better to use if we're dealing with numbers. And we need, basically it's a counter, and it goes up or it goes down depending on what we want to do. It then tests something in between or in the middle of the condition, and then it either adds to it, or they use the word increment, which means adds to. This is another word, big word that we just really mean adds up. Or we can decrement. I'll let you work out what that means. And basically, it will then do something based on that. So we could have for a number between this number and this number, count up, and it's going to count up. What we might also do is we might iterate through a list. So let's say that we've got an array and we put different animals in the array. And the array starts with a lion, elephant, penguin. What we could do is we could say the initialized counter is 0, and then we're going to iterate through until we get to the number 3. And as it does that, it's going to iterate through, and we're going to output, or we're going to execute a statement. So inside the statement here, we could say for document.write, then we could have the array, and then we could put the letter that's in the for loop. Now actually, I'm struggling to follow what I'm saying, so let's maybe do an example where you can see what we're doing. So what we've got here is we've got a start at prompt. What should we start at? We're going to input a number here, and then we're going to end on a number. So end at prompt, what should we end on? Document.write, count starts at. Okay, so what's going to happen is it starts at something, thank you mosquito, and it's going to go for start at, so this is the start loop. Start at is smaller than end at, continue to add 1 to start at. Okay, so what this means is, let's say it's 0 in here, it goes, and end at, we put in 4. So 4, so start at 0, start at is smaller than end at, so 0 is smaller than 4, do the following, add 1 to start at. So first of all, it's going to go document.write 0 and a line break. Then it does this part. It adds 1. Now is 1 bigger than, whilst 1 is smaller than 4, do the following? Well, it is, so it's going to do it again. So now it writes 1, adds 1 to start at. Start at becomes 2. Then 2 is still smaller than 4, so it executes this part, adds another 1 to start at, becomes 3. And so on until start at is no longer smaller than 4, or end at. Okay? So once it's finished, it will just move on, counter ends at, and then at the bottom, that's when we reach this part here. So let's give this a shot. And I'm just going to remove this. You guys probably want to reload or re-download the blank HTML document. So I'm just going to quickly type this out. Start at equals prompt. What num start at? Okay, and I'm being very lazy, so I'm just going to copy and paste this. Okay, and then we're going to replace it with end at. Okay, and then in here we're going to have document.write count starts at start at. Okay. Okay, so now we start our for loop. So for, open up the brackets, start at. So this is the original place we want to start. Then we break it up by using the semicolon. Start at is smaller than end at, semicolon to split it up. And we want to add 1 to start at each time. So if we just have 1 plus, that would just mean that we're going to add it to something else. If we use 2 pluses, it means that we want to add it up. So we want to add 1 to whatever's inside that variable. Then we're going to have document.write and start at, oh, spotted an error. Start at, my head's going to get in the way. Start at, and let's drop it down a line. Start at plus, and then BR. Okay, my head's in the way. I wonder if I can move that. Oh. Okay. Then we just need to say that's the end of it. So semicolon, and then once the loop's finished, we want to make sure that it has finished. So we're going to have count ends at end at. Okay. So let's give this a shot. What number start at? Let's go for 78. What number end at? 92. Counter starts at 78. So somewhere in there, I've made a mistake. Brilliant. So let's have a look. For start at, just space it out a bit. Smaller than end at. End at, start at. So whilst start at is smaller than end at, start at plus plus, brackets, yeah, document.write, start at line break. Right. Okay, so So annoyingly guys, I actually ran out of time before I managed to fix it, but it was really, really obvious. I don't know if you spotted it as well, but I spotted it as soon as the video ended, annoyingly, and all it is the little BR thing here. So that was it. So I'm just going to press save again, and I'm going to load it, and hopefully it should work. Ask me what number to start at. Let's go for 52 and end at 89. There we go. You can see it counts up quite nicely. So you've got two more tasks, task 2 and task 3. Task number 3, where are we? So task 2 first, you need to amend the code, display the correct values. I've just done exactly that, so you can pretty much copy it. Might be nice if you could maybe make it count down instead of up, but I'll leave it up to you. Then for task 3, there's two questions on Google Sheets, Google Docs. What's happening? And basically you just need to go through, answer them, then hand it in, and I'm going to have a look at them. Next lesson we are going to have a little bit more practice with for loops, and we're going to iterate through a list. So we're going to output different elements of an array or a list, depending on what language you use. Other than that guys, see you next time.